Hi, I'm Bill O'Reilly reporting tonight from Los Angeles. Thank you for watching us. Hitler and Donald Trump. That is the subject of this evening's Talking Points memo. The left in America dazed and confused by how tight the presidential race is just a few days before the first debate. The liberal media in particular in panic mode. So they're breaking out the evil card, Adolf Hitler. Writing in the Washington Post this week, crazy left columnist Richard Cohen banners Trump's Hitlerian disregard for the truth. Basically, Cohen putting forth that Trump is like Hitler in his thinking because, quote, he thinks the truth is what he says it is, unquote. Interesting. 1 point. According to most polls, about 2/3 of the American public believe the country's headed in the wrong direction. Yet President Obama says his policies have put the USA in a good place. Is that true because the president says it is? Paging Richard Cohen. By the way, if you access the Hitler column online, the Washington Post suggests you read other articles, such as Donald Trump is a unique threat to American democracy, or this is how fascism comes to America, or the theory of political leadership that Donald Trump shares with Adolf Hitler. Finally, don't compare Donald Trump to Adolf Hitler. It belittles Hitler. Talking Points is not making this up. Check it out. Now, the reason for that kind of hysteria, and that's what it is, has to do with voters not doing what the Washington Post wants them to do. A brand new Fox News poll out today has Trump up in Ohio, Nevada, and North Carolina, winning in those states. So if enough deplorables show up on Election Day, Trump could win the election. That would spell doom for the progressive movement and our increasingly oppressive PC culture. There isn't a man on earth less PC than Donald Trump. And for committed progressive folks, he's a nightmare.
Look, America is like the best idea the world ever came up with. But Donald Trump is potentially the worst idea that ever happened to America. Potentially. Could destroy it. He's hijacked the party. I think he's trying to hijack the idea of America, and I think it's bigger than all of us. I think this is really dangerous.
Now, Bono really believes what he's saying, but what he and other anti-Trump people do not understand is that demonizing Trump is useless at this point. We've heard it. What most Americans really want the next president to do is solve problems. Most of us understand that ideology has divided the nation and led to economic and security hardship. So you can Third Reich it all day long, but it's not going to matter come November. The candidate who best articulates security and economic improvement will win. It's that simple. And that's a memo. Now for the top story tonight, reaction. Joining us from Boston, Adriana Cohen, columnist for the Boston Herald. And from Washington, Garland Nixon, radio talk show host on WPFW. Mr. Nixon, we begin with you. Are you okay with the Hitler stuff?
Not at all. I think it's a serious problem for two reasons, not the least of which being I believe that whenever someone starts off talking about Hitler, slavery, plantation, or the Holocaust, it's always a bad move because it's going to offend a certain amount of people. But the other part is strategically, as far as the Democrats are concerned, it's a bad move. Politics are about contrast, and Donald Trump is mostly over the top, but when you compare him to Hitler, he starts to look like Mother Teresa. So it is of no value. It actually makes Donald Trump look better.
People start to feel sorry. Right. Yeah. Now, Adriana, Richard Cohen's not your father, is he? Or grandfather? Or
no, he's not.
The uncle you never see. But the Washington Post, you know, the Washington Post is interesting because hard news-wise, they do a pretty good job. But this guy, Fred Hyatt, who runs the editorial section and the op-eds and all of that, this guy's so crazy because when you write a column, there has to be some kind of, you're a columnist, you have to have some kind of measure, you know, and you can't just be saying Donald Trump's Hitler when Hitler killed 55 million people because of his actions. You can't be doing that, can you?
No, I mean, it's just absolutely outrageous, and it's going to fall on deaf ears because it's so absurd. I mean, look, during the GOP primary, Donald Trump was hit with over $150 million in negative attack ads. It did nothing, and he won the nomination. And so all this, defamatory attacks towards him, whether it's from Irish rock stars or people on the left or never Trumpers, it's fallen on deaf ears, the fact that Donald Trump has gotten so far. And right now, if you look at the latest national polls, he could actually win this. And that's why liberals are so desperate, resorting to outrageous attacks on him like Hitler references. It's because they know they could definitely lose this race, and they're panicking.
Well, there's no doubt about it. And, if I were running the Clinton campaign, Mr. Garland, Mr. Nixon, I would say, look, we're going to beat him on the issues. We have to have a stronger issue component than he does, because, as you rightly pointed out, Mr. Nixon, if you're going to Hitlerize Trump, you make him into a sympathetic figure for the independent or the 12% who don't really know what to do at this point.
Absolutely. It was widely reported very early in the with Clinton campaign that the Obama people were saying, look, you need a message. You need to get on a message. And the message that, Donald Trump is a bad guy, to the people who see Donald Trump as evil or a bigot or whatever the case may be, they already feel like that. You're not going to, you don't need to change those people's minds. But what you do need to do is have a message to the independents, a message to people who are concerned about the issue of jobs. And the Clinton campaign is in a tailspin, and I think the only way they get out of it is with a message, but they're not moving in that direction, unfortunately, right now.
All right. Ms. Cohen, are you surprised the Washington Post is engaging in this kind of stuff? I am. Are you?
No, I'm not. I think they're left-leaning, they're biased, and they're in the tank for the DNC. They have not only been very biased in their reporting and going after Trump unfairly, they've gone after his supporters, myself included. And so I think they're in the tank. They have very biased reporting. That said, Donald Trump is not a racist or a xenophobe or a deplorable like Hillary Clinton says. He is a very successful businessman. He's a jobs creator. And he has had a very public life for, decades. If he was a racist or any of these terrible things, we would have known long ago. And my question for Hillary Clinton is, if he was a deplorable man, why did you go to his wedding? Why were you friends with him? I mean, clearly, Donald Trump is none of these bad things. It's just that during a heated political race, they're maligning him because desperate Democrats want to hold on to power. That's all this is about. And Bill, if you look at the past elections, Democrats malign every GOP nominee, whether it's Mitt Romney, McCain. It doesn't matter who it is.
It's true on the other side, too, though, Ms. Cohen. Let's be fair. If you listen to talk radio and Hillary Clinton, I mean, she's the devil. But I think you raised a very good point. Why would you go to his wedding? But maybe the Clintons gave Mr. Trump a birthday card. Congratulations on your marriage, Mr. Deplorable. I mean, I guess that could have happened, but I don't think it did. All right, you guys, we appreciate a good debate. Thank you. Next on the Rundown, we'll talk with a debate coach about what Trump and Clinton should never do on Monday. Then more racial violence, this time Charlotte, North Carolina. Take a hard look at the situation as we continue from Los Angeles, California. Impact segment tonight, as everybody knows, the first presidential debate will be held on Monday, Hofstra University on Long Island. NBC anchor Lester Holt will moderate. Joining us now from New York City, Jay Townsend, who has been a political debate coach since 1982. So you've written a new, not a new book, but you wrote a book called The 10 Worst Mistakes Candidates Make. Yes, let's look at Hillary Clinton first. What are the three things that Secretary Clinton cannot do in the upcoming debate?
Number one, she cannot lie. Her negatives have moved into the stratosphere during the last month, and it's been this email scandal that has consumed her. And her tendency to prevaricate has sent her negatives to a point where there's a ceiling on how far she can climb now. She cannot feed that piece of her narrative in this debate. That's problem number one.
But let me stop you there. Let me stop you there. You know that she's being coached, and so is Donald Trump.
Right.
You know that Hillary Clinton has a memorized answer to any email question or any Benghazi question. Right. She's got a memorized answer. She's going to say it over and over and over. So you know, she cannot lie. I mean, the likelihood of her outright lying, you know, going out of the vetted answer that she's already got is infinitesimal, is it not?
In this sense, yes, if she sticks to the script. But, you know, when the candidate's on stage, they have to call audibles because inevitably things come up in a debate that they did not practice. So
okay.
She gets trapped into that. The other thing here is if she says something in this debate that is wholly inconsistent with things said in the past, she may get an aftershock.
Right. But that's why I'm telling you, she's got them memorized. She's got email memorized, Benghazi memorized, and probably 2 or 3 other things. And Trump should have them too. Birther stuff, Trump should have it memorized, whatever. Okay, now what's the second thing that Hillary Clinton
Second thing is she's got this health issue that's floating around, the pneumonia and stuff going out on the media about is she really healthy upstairs? And I don't mean mentally, does she have a problem that goes beyond pneumonia? So she cannot get sick on stage, and she cannot lose her place. Right. But I mean,
okay, there's 90 minutes. She's right.
If she gets confused,
be robust.
If she becomes confused about what question she is answering, that would cause a major problem. That's one thing that she cannot do.
That would be for anyone, not just for her. But I get your point. People are watching her health-wise.
Right.
All right, third thing real quick because I want to get to Trump.
Third thing is, look, the six-pack is all there on her campaign platform. She is missing the plastic thingy that holds it all together, which is, what is she going to do for the country? If you ask somebody why Hillary Clinton wants to be president, what she's going to do, you still get a blank stare. She's losing.
Yeah, I know, but that, I mean,
she has to tie it together.
She wants to help people. All right, she has to tie it together.
She needs
all right, so Trump, what are the 3 things that Trump can't do?
He cannot lose his temper, because people will expect that he's going to lose his temper, and I expect that he's been coached and told by his team, you cannot lose your temper in this debate.
Okay.
Second thing, he
can't make faces, right?
Exactly.
But he might
That's
make faces,
part of his body language, yes. He cannot say anything that sounds remotely racist or sexist because he'll get burned very badly. The third thing, and perhaps most important in his case, he cannot be condescending to Mrs. Clinton. He has to treat her with respect, treat her as an equal. If he is condescending, he ruins his chances of picking up these white, college-educated women.
Let me throw something at you.
Right.
Let me throw something at you. He has stated time and time again that Hillary Clinton's crooked.
Yes.
All right? Now, we don't expect him to say crooked Hillary like he did, you know, Little Marco and Lion Ted. We don't expect that. But surely he's going to bring out some of the allegations of corruption against Hillary Clinton, the foundation. And would that be condescending?
No, you can do that without being condescending, but calling her names when you're standing right next to her on a stage is condescending. You can raise this other stuff in a gentlemanly way.
Mr. Townsend, thanks very much. We appreciate it. Directly ahead, police in Charlotte, North Carolina say they shot and killed a black man who had a gun. Why then are some people rioting in that city? And later, Miller will have his debate preview. Those reports after these messages. Unresolved Problem segment tonight, more racial unrest, this time in Charlotte, North Carolina. One quick comment before we get to the story. Every American police officer should know that any mistake he or she makes involving violence toward a black suspect will now become a national story. Therefore, restraint and caution should be the order of the day. That being said, this program generally supports the police because we well understand the danger involved with the job. Last night in Charlotte, hundreds of people protested, some of them unlawfully, after police shot and killed 43-year-old Keith Scott.
I can just tell you what I know based on what we've gathered through the scientific process of going through the evidence. And we did find a weapon, and the weapon was there, and the witnesses corroborated it too.
Despite that, protesters set fires, looted, and blocked Interstate 85. Some demonstrators actually threw rocks at police, causing at least 16 injuries. The vigilante action was justified by an activist.
But what we're standing up for now is our black manhood and our black people who are being gunned down in the street, and we don't get no justice.
Also in Tulsa, Oklahoma, another troubling situation. This time, the black man shot dead, 40-year-old Terrence Crutcher, did not have a gun. Police say he was acting suspiciously. He may have been intoxicated. However, Crutcher's family lawyer, Benjamin Crump, says the man was no threat to the cops at all. Both local and federal investigators now examining the evidence. With us now here in Los Angeles, Leo Terrell, a civil rights attorney. So let's take Charlotte first.
Okay.
If the dead man did have a gun, all right, and it seems that he did, the protesters really have no right to go out and commit crimes themselves. I mean, I don't mind them going out and saying we're upset, we'd like to know what happened. I think that I would do that. But to throw rocks and to set fires and things like that, totally out.
Well, I agree with you. Throwing the rocks is wrong, but just having a gun is not justified for shooting or killing this man. Bill, we're assuming that this gun was posing a threat to the officer.
Right.
I cannot believe the police chief version of the facts yet. The facts are not even in yet. And you know what helps us?
Wait.
Okay.
If the police chief says,
yes,
which we all heard,
he wasn't there,
the man had a gun,
yes,
all right, and witnesses corroborate that, which he said, all right, then in a society that is built upon innocence until proven guilty,
yes,
you must at least consider that a credible source.
Wouldn't you conclude that's a rush to judgment before 24 hours, before a trial, before a DA gets involved?
I want to see this case investigated, yes, and evidence. But the protesters must abide, or we have anarchy, by the innocent until proven guilty adage.
Bill, let me tell you the fundamental issue. We're talking about the Carolina case first, but you know why they can't say the same thing in the Tulsa case? Because we have video, we have a camera. If we don't have a camera here in Carolina, that's why the chief gets the liberty of saying, hey, everything was right. Well, and I'm telling you that there's a problem.
You are suspicious.
There's nobody. Yes.
The chief. All right. I'm saying that he's entitled to the belief of what he's saying is true. But even if you're right that the police chief isn't being straight,
right,
all right, the protesters have no right to go out and do vigilante stuff, all right, at all in this case.
I'm not going to justify.
There's a reasonable doubt.
I'm not going to justify the vigilante stuff. But Bill O'Reilly, can't you agree that with cameras we have learned that police officers lie, don't tell the truth?
In certain cases, that's absolutely true.
But why are we going to believe this police chief right now?
Have to.
It's a rush to judgment.
No, it's not. You have to give him the presumption of innocence like you give any citizen. Now let's go to Oklahoma.
Okay.
All right. So in Oklahoma, it's different.
Only because of a camera, Mr. O'Reilly.
Okay. Well. It's a different situation because the man wasn't armed. It's not the camera. He didn't have a gun. And the police chief there says that. Didn't have a gun. Okay, so now you have a dead American citizen, right, with no gun and obviously walking away from police, not confronting police. The thing will all hinge around a window, and we're investigating this case. We're not going to try it on TV, but we're going to have some new information on this tomorrow. But here, I agree that this is more unsettling, and that if you wanted to protest here, you have a little bit higher ground than in Charlotte.
And the only reason why we have a little higher ground because of that camera. We wouldn't even know there.
Because he had no gun.
We wouldn't even know that. You know what would happen if there was no camera? The police were in ongoing investigation. We can't release the information. That's the power of that video.
No, it isn't. I mean, if they could have said he had a gun in the car, he's reaching in the car. They could have done a whole bunch of things. The fact of the matter is the police in Tulsa were honest. And they said the man did not have a gun or a deadly weapon.
The police officer in Tulsa have to be honest because they were going to be impeached by the video. Bill, I'm just telling you right now, I'm not justifying the crime and the damage. I'm saying to you that black people have a problem trusting the police, and video has proven that officers don't tell the truth. I have a sister in law enforcement.
Some officers.
And it's the 97% of the good officers that protect the 3% that are rotten to the core.
Okay. So if protesters know that these kinds of aberrations, A, shouldn't be tolerated, I agree with you. I mean, if the police are shooting down not only black, but anybody for, because they're drunk, I mean, you can't do that. But on the other hand, the black community has to be somewhat restrained before it goes out and starts burning things down.
Let me just give you one other point.
Quick.
In that Tulsa case, remember the audio? That guy looks dangerous.
Yes.
Why? Because he's black?
No, because
why
he was
that comment was
acting
made?
suspiciously, and they have a right to say he looks dangerous.
Oh.
They have a right to do that. They don't have a right to hurt him. And so, again, we'll have a follow-up on this Tulsa thing tomorrow. Councilor, always good debating with
My
you.
pleasure, Bill. Thank you.
Plenty more as the factor moves along this evening. Martha McCallum with the latest on the wounded terrorist suspect who allegedly planted bombs in New York City and New Jersey. Did he have accomplices? Ben Miller has a debate preview for us. That should be fascinating. We hope you stay tuned for those reports as we continue from Los Angeles, California. Personal story segment tonight was President Obama too negative about America in his speech yesterday at the UN. Let's analyze 3 examples. Number 1.
There is too much money in politics, too much entrenched partisanship, too little participation by citizens, in part because of a patchwork of laws that makes it harder to vote.
President's correct about too much money in politics, although he himself spent gazillions. But he's wrong that it's hard to vote in this country. Truth is, it's easy to vote in America, perhaps too easy. Showing an ID at a polling place, not an imposition on anyone. Example number 2 at the United Nations.
In advanced economies like my own, unions have been undermined, and many manufacturing jobs have disappeared.
That is fiction. Jobs are disappearing because high tech is making manual labor unnecessary in many industries, and because some corporations are taking the game overseas. Unions have little to do with unemployment, although they can provide some protection for the worker. Full disclosure, I am in the SAG-AFTRA union. Number 3.
So just as I've pursued these measures here at home, so has the United States worked with many nations to curb the excesses of capitalism, not to punish wealth, but to prevent repeated crises that can destroy it.
Here the president is correct. He did take action against the bogus mortgage securities industry that caused the Great Recession of 2008. Capitalism is the best system, but there must be government oversight. Joining us now from New York City, Ebony Williams and Monica Crowley. So let's take the capitalism thing first. Monica, do you disagree with me?
Well, yes and no, Bill. I agree that capitalism does need checks and balances to prevent abuses against workers and taxpayers and other Americans. That is true. The question is, what kind of oversight? Should it be basic rules of the road that allow individuals and businesses to flourish in the context of economic freedom? Or should it be statist rules of the kind that we have seen from this administration since day one that really restrict the ability of businesses to begin to operate in this country? And I think, you know, when you talked about the 2008, yes,
absolutely.
It's an overreaction.
Overregulation is a
Correct.
problem. Overreaction is a problem. But you've got to admit that President Obama came in and they put a clamp on these mortgage-backed situations. And just today at Wells Fargo, that guy, the president of Wells Fargo, they were pushing bogus investments on their customers, and both parties are hammering him. So President Obama was right in what he said, essentially.
Well,
now, Ebony, let's go over to the voting
The question
thing.
is what kind of treatment, and Dodd-Frank was a complete overreaction that actually didn't solve the problem.
Okay, he
because
didn't have anything to do with Dodd-Frank.
What are you talking about, Bill? Dodd-Frank came under his administration.
That was our pal Barney Frank and Chris Dodd.
That was legislation,
that
yes, that Obama signed into law.
Okay. Let's go to the voter registration thing, which is a total myth, Ebony. You have a situation that a little ID card, which will be sent, delivered, handed to you with a bag of M&Ms, whatever you need, is now saying that's oppressive. You can't ask for that when voting. How insane is this?
Well, Bill, the Fourth Circuit and the United States Supreme Court, many of those members would disagree with you that it's a myth. In fact, they think it's with surgical precision. They said that it targets disproportionately targets black people.
Not pinheaded judges who play to the crowd.
Pinheaded judges.
Do you believe, Ebony K. Williams?
Sure.
Ebony K. Williams, do you believe that asking for an ID at a polling place is oppressive and suppresses voting? Yes or no?
Yes, I think it can be overly burdensome, Bill. And I'll tell you why I know that. Yes.
Just have an ID.
Because the things that you have to go through to get an ID. No, I don't think it's an unreasonable request on its face, but you have to wonder
the states will come and give it to you.
Listen, Bill, but right, it will. And I'm very suspicious, though, that we've had voting rights in this country, many of us, for many years. While all of a sudden now do we have this new requirement? I think it's a fair and reasonable question.
You know who I'm suspicious of, Ebony?
What's that, Bill?
I'm suspicious of somebody who doesn't have an ID. That's
Oh,
who I'm
people lose their
suspicious of.
IDs,
Now back to
Bill.
Monica.
Come on.
That's good. Back to Monica. Now, you said with the Dodge thing, well, Obama signed it. Had to sign it. It's his whole party.
What are you talking about? That was his whole agenda, Bill, and it was a complete overreaction, which didn't stop the abuses, which are going on to this day. Number two, it killed community banks, and number three, it restricted access to credit for almost every American.
It doesn't kill community banks. What it does is it stops them from lending money to people who want to start a business.
Regional and
That's
smaller
the real
community
bad
banks
part about
are basically extinct thanks to Dodd-Frank. The question always is,
I got
what is
5
the
in
right
my town,
solution,
Monica.
Bill?
I mean, one's opening on my front lawn on the community banks.
Well, good for you, Bill,
All right,
but that's the
last
exception
thing.
to the rule.
All right. Real quick, you don't think IDs are oppressive, right?
No, I do not.
Okay. Ebony, did unions cause unemployment? Yes or no?
No, they didn't, Bill. Of course not. Unemployment
Okay,
in this
good.
country
All
is
right,
because
good.
of a lot of other issues. Unions, I do take issue with, but they're not responsible for that.
All right. Good. All right, ladies. We'll see you next week. We come right back from California. It'll be Miller time. D-Man with a debate preview. Moments away.
The O'Reilly Factor, the #1 cable news show for 16 years and counting.
Thanks for staying with us. I'm Bill O'Reilly in the Miller Time segment tonight. Let's get right to the sage of Southern California. He's right up Interstate 5 in Santa Barbara this evening. So, Miller, what say you about the upcoming debate on Monday?
First off, Billy, I just went to pick up my Wetzel's Pretzels takeout order, and they wanted an ID. So let's put that to rest. Yeah, you should need an ID to vote. I mean, that's absolutely, I like that girl, but that's crazy for her to say that. And by the way, I see you're in L.A. I'm sorry I couldn't get down. I can only assume you're out there because the locals offered you your own Wolfman pentagram on the Hollywood Walk of Stars. So congratulations, my friend. I wish
the
I
day
could
I
have
get
been
a
there
wall,
for
the day that I get the Star of Fame on that walk will be the day that L.A. wipes out into the ocean. I mean, that's never going to happen. Yeah,
That'll
that's
be
going to
the
be
big
the day.
earthquake.
But I'm going to tell
now
everybody
listen,
why
I
we're
won't-
here. Go ahead.
I won't be able to watch the debates because I'll be traveling. But I would encourage Trump, he better push it out there pretty far. I think he has to be leading by 8 to 10 points at Election Day. Or let's just say there's a lot of Priuses out there being fitted with pneumatic shock absorbers to put all the fake ballots they can in the trunk. So I think Trump better push it out there pretty far because the closer he gets, the more she's going to win by. It's just that's the way I see it. I do have some ideas, though, to improve the debates, Billy. May I lay them on you, my friend?
Certainly.
All right. I think, first off, on their way to the stage, they should frisk both of them for a wire, because I think Hillary might have a wire. I also think they should have to blow on a breathalyzer just to see, just curiosity on my part. I think that instead of real moderators, we ought to have robot moderators, because I've been watching these debates for the last year. I see a lot of artificial intelligence up there. Why don't we make it actual artificial intelligence? Then I think they should vary the questioning. Some policy questions, but then every once in a while you throw in a times table thing. 12 times 11. That one always throws me off. See how quick they are. You ask them to spell a word. Aardvark. No, 2 A's. They blow that. They're out. General knowledge. You know, a little Jeopardy thing. Bring Trebek in. Then I think they should take Skype questions from actual people on a big screen over their head. First one should be Anthony Weiner, shirtless, just standing there having a question with them. It's a more, let's say, if Weiner does it, we can say it's a more hands-on approach to questioning. I don't think they should have bells or buzzers at these things. I think when they run up against their time, you should hear a big disembodied voice say, "Shut up now." No bells, no buzzer. Shut up now. And then, lastly, I think they should have ejector podiums like the Aston Martin in the James Bond film. If somebody's up there yanking us, boom, just shoot them off the podium into the
Get
sun.
out of there. That's right. If somebody says something isn't true, wham. Or they can be over water and then bang, right into water. Okay, you know you know this guy Caliendo, Frank Caliendo.
Yeah,
you know
Frank's
him, right?
great. He's
well,
great,
he was on
great
Fox
guy.
and Friends this morning. Roll the tape.
When Dennis Miller enjoys himself on O'Reilly, there's nothing better than that. When he starts, Billy, I haven't seen anything like this since Megyn Kelly was teaching Frank Luntz karate in the Cantina Bar in Star Wars. And then O'Reilly will shut him down. Come on, Dennis, that never happened. I know, Billy, but you're seeing it in your head right now. It's crazy, Billy. It's crazy.
He's got you, Miller. He's got you.
I'm honored. I'm honored. And he is cut to my very essence. Can I tell you? And Frank is the nicest
guy. He made one mistake, though.
I am flattered to be in the crosshairs of the best impressionist on the planet Earth.
He made one mistake. He said that I called you Dennis. He said I called you Dennis. That never happens,
Once on my birthday. Once on my birthday 4 years ago, you called me Dennis and you started to cry. It hurt you so much.
Brutal mistake. All right, there's Miller.
That's so funny.
McCallum.
Brutal mistake. Brutal mistake, Billy.
All right, Killer's Mike. Martha McCallum on deck. There's some new information about the alleged terrorist who planted bombs in New York and New Jersey. Then the factor tip of the day on not cooperating with the police. Factors coming right back. Back in the book segment tonight, did you see that? There is new information about Ahmad Rahami, the suspect in the terror mayhem over the weekend in New York and New Jersey.
A handwritten journal found on Rahami at the time of his arrest, talking about, among other things, jihad, bombs, a pressure cooker bomb, and the sounds of bombs heard in the street, as well as laudatory references to Anwar al-Awlaki and Osama bin Laden.
You know, to explain further, Fox News anchor Martha McCallum. Are police looking for other terrorists in this case?
So, Bill, there were two other men who touched the second device, the pressure cooker device on 27th Street in Manhattan. It was in a suitcase. For some reason, they're caught on CCTV removing the pressure cooker from the suitcase and then taking the suitcase away. Right now, what we're learning is that investigators say that they want to speak to these two individuals. They consider them witnesses, not suspects. So that's where that stands. They are definitely looking for these two people.
All right, so those guys had something to do with it. Obviously, if they were removing things from the satchel. The guy himself, Rahami, he's still in the hospital, and I understand he's not speaking to the police?
He's in the hospital. He's in New Jersey. He's being attended by FBI agents at his bedside who are waiting for him to become coherent and not unconscious, which he's reported to be at this point. They're going to start questioning him as soon as he is available. He had some surgery for the injuries that he received in the shootout in Linden, but they're going to be speaking to him, I would imagine, very soon.
Okay, so not life-threatening. The guy was wounded in the shootout.
That's right.
This guy and his father were known to the Linden authorities. There were lawsuits involved here. At one time, there's a report that the father went to the FBI about the son. Right. Can you separate fact from fiction here?
So the father did go to the FBI about the son. He said that he suspected that his son had been radicalized, that he was becoming a terrorist. The family had basically a huge brawl. The brother and the sister were stabbed, attacked. But at some point, the family decided they weren't going to press any charges. They wanted to drop the whole thing. There was never an official FBI investigation opened into this case, from what we can tell, and the FBI moved on. Now, they're going to be questioned about that. It looks in many ways very similar to the Tsarnaev situation in Boston.
Yeah.
You know, you have traveling back and forth to Afghanistan. He went to Quetta. It's not somewhere where people go on vacation. I mean, there are definite concerns about his travel and his intentions and what he was learning when he was there. Absolutely.
But tell me a little bit about this brawl where his brother and sister were stabbed. Is Rahami the guy who stabbed them, allegedly?
Yes, he is. I mean, he clearly is, you know, the black sheep of the family, and now even more so, obviously. But they did raise concerns about him at one point, but then they dropped them and said that they didn't want to press any charges. They didn't want to take it any further. He was definitely the one who was instrumental in the brawl that happened with their family. But, you know, the brother also has posted jihadist photos, calling people to jihad on a website. So, you know, I think it's too early to say that, you know, the family is totally separate from these activities. I have no indication that they are involved at this point at all. However, I would be very surprised if the FBI was ruling that out.
All right, Martha, as always, we thank you. And the factor tip of the day, Americans who do not cooperate with police. The tip, moments away. Factor tip of the day, cooperating with the police or not. But first, we are out here in Los Angeles in support of killing the rising sun. Tonight, I'll be on the Kimmel program. Tomorrow, I tape the Ellen DeGeneres show, which will be shown on Monday right before the debate. Now, this morning we got some great news. In its first week out, Killing the Rising Sun sold, ready? More than 250,000 copies, an astounding total. If you become a BillO'Reilly.com premium member, and you should, you get Rising Sun free of charge, plus free copy of the Constitution. If you'd like me to sign Killing the Rising Sun, please get those orders in now for Christmas and other holidays. We're besieged. We want to get them so you get them quickly. Once again, thanks for supporting the book. And once again, all the money I get from the website, donated to charity. Now, the mail, Fred Mack, St. Louis. Bill, you let Trump off the hook. You never pressed him when he did not answer your questions. You are a weak interviewer. Carol Kelly, Overland Park, Kansas. O'Reilly, you are totally unfair to Trump. You pushed him into a corner. You showed him no respect. Once again, those dueling letters demonstrate that partisans can never see things clearly. And here's another one. Kevin McShane, San Diego. Bill, Donald Trump should never tell you, Krauthammer, or anyone else his plans for defeating ISIS. I disagree, Kevin. Voters should know what the candidates are going to do to protect them. Stephanie Presper, Centerville, Virginia. O'Reilly, I almost threw up watching Waters' World tonight. What a stereotypical portrayal of Italian ethnicity. Mr. Waters owes us an apology. No, he doesn't, Stephanie. The piece was affectionate and funny. Being overly sensitive may distort reality. Scott Ganella, Virginia Beach. That Waters' World segment from the San Gennaro Festival had me crying with laughter. Great job, Jesse. Dennis Hamlin, San Antonio, Texas, just finished Killing the Rising Sun. Amazingly well done. Could not put it down. Hope many of the World War II revisionist historians take the time to read it. They will not, Dennis. If you despise your country, you don't want to read anything that counters that point of view. Bert Johnson, Medibemps, Maine. Medibemps, everyone. O'Reilly, I had to put down Killing the Rising Sun because tears were streaming down my face. My father, who passed away last year, served as a Marine in the Pacific. He never talked about the war, and now I know why. You also know that your dad was a patriotic American, Bert, and that is why I dedicated Killing the Rising Sun to all World War II vets. And finally tonight, the factor tip of the day. Here in Southern California, there was yet another high-speed police chase yesterday. Cops say Anthony Hill, in his early 20s, was a suspect in a burglary. Police tried to arrest him. He fled in his car, driving 100 miles an hour on the freeway. Predictably, car went out of control and Hill was killed in the crash.
It was emotion and chaos at the intersection of Long Beach Boulevard and Victoria. Family, friends, trying to find out if it was their loved one dead inside the crime scene just outside that white Dodge.
My femur!
This man on crutches, said to be a brother of the driver, was tased when he wouldn't go back to the other side of the yellow tape. He was detained. So was another man described as his brother.
While everyone understands the anguish of family members when someone dies, this situation is quite clear. If you are going to flee from the police, if you are not going to cooperate with law enforcement, bad things will happen to you. That is the truth, and that is the tip of the day. And that is us for us tonight. Please check out the Fox News Factor website, which is different from BillO'Reilly.com. Also, we'd like you to spout all about the Factor from anywhere in the world. O'Reilly at FoxNews.com, O'Reilly at FoxNews.com. Name in town, name in town, name in town. If you wish to opine, word of the day, do not be more damned when writing to the Factor. Now, tomorrow, I'm going to have some debate stuff in the Talking Points memo about big moments. Remember the Reagan-Carter debate and Nixon-Kennedy. We're going to go over that and what was really compelling and apply it to Monday's debate. Again, thanks for watching us tonight. I'm Bill O'Reilly reporting from L.A. Please remember the spin stops here because we're definitely looking out for you.